For more than 70 years, the relationship between the People's Republic of China and China, Taiwan, has been in crisis. What are the roots of this crisis and the reasons for its extension so far, as demonstrated by its severity when the recent visit of U.S. House Speaker Pelosi to Taiwan and the Chinese reaction to this visit? What is Taiwan's geostrategic importance to China? Is it just its adherence to the one country, two systems principle? Or does this also have other motives of strategic and geopolitical dimensions? Is there room for analysis at the academic level by making a comparison between the Sino-Taiwan situation, and what was the situation in the relationship between the two Germans before their unification in October 1990? Is what happened between the two Germans a unification or reunification, unification, reunification, between the two countries? To what extent can the same question be asked at the level of the relationship of the People's Republic of China with national China? Does China seek unification with Taiwan or reunification as it was in the past? To understand the dimensions of the relationship between Taiwan and the People's Republic of China, it is necessary to return to some key historical moments between the two countries. The proclamation of the People's Republic of China on October 1, 1949, led by Communist leader Mao Zedong, led to the creation of two states for China, National China, Taiwan, led by Chiang Kai-shek, who led the resistance against Japanese occupation in World War II, and Mao's forces also contributed from the Chinese Communist Party in the resistance and liberation of Chinese land from Japanese occupation. In the aftermath of World War II, Japan surrendered and relinquished its control of China, which lasted for 50 years, as the resistance forces called the Kuomintang, which are ideologically hostile to communism, managed to seize and control Taiwan. Historians point out that the Korean War in the 50s saved this nationalist group by stopping the communist penetration to its sites, thanks to the support and protection of the United States, which did so based on its policy to contain communism and its expansion in Asia. In 1945, nationalist China joined as one of the founding countries of the United Nations among the permanent members, with the right to use its veto in the UN Security Council. The United States and a number of Western countries insisted on recognizing patriotic China as the only legitimate representative of the state of China and that it has the right to retain its seat in the Security Council. But in the early 70s, during the era of President Nixon, the United States retreated from its hard position through the diplomacy of Henry Kissinger, its Secretary of State, by approving in 1971 the adoption of Resolution 2758 by the United Nations Security Council giving the seat of national China to the People's China, and the United States officially recognized Beijing in the first from January 1979 that China is one, represented by the People's China without mentioning in its recognition the issue of sovereignty in Taiwan. Thus, the United States has adopted the Chinese view that Taiwan is part of the People's China. The repercussions of this American recognition had a large number of countries cut their diplomatic relations with Taiwan, and this fell in 1979 to the level of 24 countries. Then the number decreased in 2021 to only 15 countries. The question of Taiwan for China is one of the main elements that controls its relations with foreign countries, as it requires any country wishing to establish diplomatic relations with it to recognize one China, which in practice means that Taiwan is just one of the Chinese provinces and not an independent country. That is why, as we have said, the Taiwan issue was present in the Sino-American relations, which after refraining from recognizing the People's China for a long time, came to the conviction that China's determination to regain Taiwan is something that cannot be relinquished, as it is a firm belief that it is difficult for it to change its position on it. The important question for the United States and the West is, how will China realize its dream of restoring Taiwan to the motherland? Will it be through the use of force or through diplomatic treatment and a flexible policy that will lure Taiwan under the Chinese mantle? At first, China saw a military solution as the option that would allow it to annex Taiwan, until 1979. In the 80s, the relationship between China and Taiwan began to improve when China put forward the principle of one country, two systems, under which Taiwan would be granted autonomy if it accepted China's reunification. Indeed, she gave a model for her presentation in Hong Kong, which was restored by China in 1979, in order to lure the Taiwanese back to the Chinese mainland, which was refused from them. But at the same time Taiwan relaxed the rules for visits and investment in China, and cancelled in 1991 the general mobilization of the state of war prevailing against China. In 2000, when Taiwan elected Chen Shui as president, China was concerned when he supported the principle of complete secession and independence and made matters worse by re-electing Chen again in 2004, which led to the hardening of China's position and its issuance on March 14, 2005 of the Anti-Secession Law, which stipulated China's right to use non-peaceful means against Taiwan if it tries to secede from China. The turbulent relations between the two countries subsided with the arrival of Ma Pingzhu in 2008 to the presidency, as he sought to improve relations with China through economic agreements and established dialogue and communication between the two governments.